Stephanie, I know you've looked at risk-taking behaviours among teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that it's also important to look at the risk-taking activities associated with binge drinking, which in itself is a risk-taking activity. So that teenagers who are involved in binge drinking are also likely to have unprotected sex, or have promiscuous sex, or even have sex to begin with that maybe unwanted. Also fighting with friends and taking other sorts of risk, vandalising property. It's all coming into that same issue of binge drinking.
We've got a Twitter question.
This user asks, what is the best way to protect our teenagers from the temptation of drugs?
Who wants to be brave enough to take that on? Antoinette?
I'm going to start, and then I'm going to handball that one. I think Don made a noise. Maintaining just a positive relationship. I think from what Don said earlier, that there's a reason why they're engaging in that risky behaviour and that binge drinking in the first place. It's not just because they like getting drunk. There's a sense of a peer group influence or something else that's not working in their life. So to go back to that kind of primary prevention around maintaining those good relationships, being available, being unconditionally supportive, which can be a real challenge when they've done something you really don't approve of. So that relationship stuff. Thanks, Don.
Don, go on.
I think Antoinette has spoken, the real wisdom there. One of the issues, of course, is education and information. The more kids know, the more likely they are to make rational choices. But that's not the only solution to it, because we know that nowadays kids are fairly well saturated in health classes in schools and so on, with the problems of alcohol, the problems of drugs, the problems of unprotected and unwanted sex and so on, and yet they continue to go out and do all of those things. So having the information is important, but it's not the only solution. One of the solutions, I think, is providing alternatives, and the only way you can provide alternatives is to understand why they want to go out and drink or take drugs in the first place, and that all boils down to communication.
But can you ever understand that? Can you really understand why they want to go out and
Well, I've seen a lot of it
themselves?
is around popularity, which is just another way to throw it at Stephanie, but that sense of that peer group and wanting to be popular, and it's a real subculture around the fun and excitement and status that they get for how drunk they got on Friday night and which party they're going to. And
Yeah, I would agree with that, but a lot of students said that they just like getting drunk because it's fun.
Okay.
Which is really hard to protect them against. Larry,
Well, the only thing I would want to add to that, and I'd certainly agree with what's been said, but the other thing is most of this kind of behavior takes place within peer groups, and so they're not doing this alone. And peer groups really are like miniature societies. They've got norms of their own, and so the things that they think are kind of normal behavior are things that they all mutually support, but outsiders might not. So they create their own environment within which binge drinking or drug taking or things of that nature seem to be quite common.
Charlie, to you, do you observe this kind of thing taking place? Do you see people who are obliterating themselves?
Definitely. I guess I'm interested in how much the cultural values we put on, particularly alcohol, affect these things, because I have a fair few friends who are studying in Europe, and this sort of thing doesn't happen because it's not, I guess alcohol is not stigmatised, and it's introduced from an early age to be part of normal living. So I wonder how much that influences people then sort of going from nothing to everything sort of black and white looking at alcohol.
I think coming round to binge drinking is probably as good a place as any to end. We're at 7:30. We've had a really fruitful discussion and it's been very engaging. You've all been absolutely terrific. But if I could ask you all to thank our panel, Don Byrne, Jessica Wilson, isn't it? Jessica, and Antoinette Harmer, Charlie Wood, Larry Saha and Stephanie Hawke. Thank you. Please thank them all. And we should just also thank our technical staff and the Twitterator. Thank you.